Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 10 of our GoLang course. As mentioned in the last lesson, in this lesson I'm going to cover arithmetic operators. Since we have already covered the theory part, in this lesson I'm only going to concentrate on the code part. So I've written the topics that we will cover in this lesson. First we will have arithmetic operators, the ones we looked at. Then I will talk about type conversion when trying to operate upon two different types. Then computation shorthand. This too is an operator, and division by 0 followed by increment and decrement operators. So let's start. To start off, first we will create two variables a and b of type int and assign them some value. Here you can see I have created two variables a and b, and I have used assignment shorthand to assign them a value of 10 and the type of int. Since int is the default type for numeric values, a will be given the type of int, so will be b. First we have the sum operator. So again I'm going to use the assignment shorthand and say sum is equal to a plus b, or sum colon equal a plus b. Now I can do fmt dot println sum. Now if I run the program, you will see the sum being printed onto the console. Go run main.go. There you have 15 printed to the console, which is the sum of a and b. As mentioned in the lecture, the sum operator or the plus operator can also be used with strings along with the numeric types. So I can do first name colon equal code, last name colon equal learn, and then I can do full name colon equal first name plus last name. In between we can also add a space here. So I can do first name space last name. Now we can print it off with fmt println full name. Now if I run the program again, you will see first and the last name printed. Go run main.go. As we expected, we have code space learn. This is also called string concatenation. You can do string concatenation with the plus sign, or there's a preferred method of doing it with formatters like we did in one of the examples previously. So fmt printf %s, a placeholder for string, space %s, placeholder for the second string, and as a first string I can pass first name, and as a second string I can pass last name. This will print directly to the console. I will add a new line in the end. So go run main.go. We will see code and learn printed. So it's preferred that you use formatters for string concatenation instead of the plus sign, but once in a while you will see that string concatenation using the plus sign is also used. So this is the only operator that works outside numeric types, or this is the only arithmetic operator that works outside the numeric type but only on strings. Next we will look at the difference operator. So I can say difference is equal to a minus b, or difference colon equal a minus b. Now we can print the difference as well. fmt dot println difference. If I run the program again, you will see difference being printed. Just to distinguish, we can add what we are doing in front of the print outlines or the print outputs. I'm just going to revert it back to what we have initially, as this is what we are discussing for this lecture. Now let us clear and run our program again. Go run main.go, and you will see sum 15 printed, difference 5 printed. Next let us look at the product operator. I can say product is equal to a asterisk. If you remember correctly, asterisk here is the product operator. Since it's between a and b, it's a binary operator. So I can do fmt println a or product. Again I will add what we are printing to the console before this. If I save and run the program, you will see product 50 printed to the console. Next we need to cover the remainder operator. So I can say remainder colon equal a percentage sign b. Again fmt println remainder. Now if I run the program, since 10 is divisible by 5 completely, you will see the remainder is printed as 0. So go run main.go, and you can see the remainder is 0. So these are all the arithmetic operators in Go that can be used with numeric types. First we have the sum operator or the plus sign. This can be used for all numeric types including complex and floats, and it can also be used with strings. The difference operator or the minus operator can be used to calculate the difference between a and b or any two numeric types, or the difference between two variables of the same numeric type, while the asterisk or the star is used to calculate the product. The percentage sign is used to calculate the remainder, which gives you the remainder of when a is divided by b. We forgot to cover the division operator, so I'm just going to cover it quickly here. So I can say division colon equal a / b, and that will give us the division of a by b. fmt println. So now we are printing the division too. So if I do go run main.go, you will see we are getting the quotient or 2 when 10 is divided by 5. So these are the arithmetic operators, and this is how you use them. As mentioned earlier, you can use them with a float as well as the complex numbers. So if I create complex 1 colon equal complex 10 and 15 for the imaginary part, then complex 2, complex 100, or maybe 5 and 10. So I can say complex sum is colon equal to complex 1 plus complex 2. Now if I printed fmt println and say complex sum, so here I'm printing the complex sum. So let's run the program again, and you will see the complex sum has been printed, which is correct. So it gives you 10 plus 5, 15 for the real part, and 15 plus 10, 25 for the imaginary part. Similarly, you can apply any operator for any numeric types like minus, product, division, but the remainder operator is only applicable for integers or ints and unsigned int. If I try to do float remainder and do 10.50 remainder 10, you will see straight away it will throw an error. It says invalid operation. Operator percentage not defined on 10.50 untyped float constant. So just to remember that the remainder operator can only be used with int and unsigned int. So I'm just going to delete that from there. Next we have type conversion. So if I create a third variable of type float 15.50, now if I try to sum float with int, I can say new sum colon equal a. If you remember, c is a float. So if I do c, it will straight away throw an error. Instead, what I need to do is typecast it to int, and we can do fmt.println new sum. Now if I run the program, new sum is printed and is equal to 25. When we did the conversion, the 0.50 fraction has been dropped from float to int. So that's to remember, if you're trying to operate two different numeric types with arithmetic operators, you would have to convert one type to another to make them of the same type. That's because Go is a strongly typed language and you cannot perform these operations between different numeric types. Next, we have the computation shorthand. So I'm just going to comment this out so that we don't see a lot of outputs on the console, and I'm just going to remove this. So here I only have a int variable which has been assigned a value of 10. If I wanted to do something like, so here what I'm doing is assigning a the value of a plus 10. So if you substitute it, 10 plus 5, a should be 15. So if I run the program now, go run main.go, you will see 15 printed. When you are doing something like this, you can instead do a shorthand. This is the shorthand operator for arithmetic operations. What I'm saying here is that a should be equal to a plus 5. When we describe this, we say a plus is equal to 5. Now if I run the program, we will see the same output. You see 15 is printed. This shorthand can be applied to all the arithmetic operators. So I can do a minus equal to 5, and we should see 5 printed to the console. I can do a is equal to a divided by 5, go run main.go, and I should see 2 printed. I can also do product. This time I will let you guess what should be printed. Correct, 50. And I can also do this with the remainder. This time again we should see 0, since there's no remainder when you divide 10 by 5. I can update the value to 12. Let's see what if it's able to calculate the remainder, which should be 2. Go run main.go, you can see 2 is printed to the console. That's the computational shorthand. So the operation you want to perform, the arithmetic operator goes in the front and then equal to sign and then the value on the right side. So this is equal to a is equal to a percent 5. So that's the shorthand. The shorthand can apply to any numeric types as we've seen. So I'm going to comment this out again. Let's move on to our next step, or division by 0. So here you can see I am trying to save a divided by 0 into 0 division variable. You can straight away say the language server complaining about division by 0, which I cannot do. This creates a panic Panic is something that we haven't gone over, but we will go over in the future lessons. For now, you can understand it as an exception that's thrown when you try to perform operation that is not permitted. So if I do go run main.go, we will see division by 0. It's saying fmt imported but not used. So I'm going to comment that out and then go run main.go. You can see again division by 0. So division by 0 of any numeric type is not allowed. If I try to do the same thing with complex, you will see the same error. Next, let us move to the increment and the decrement operator. So the increment operator is plus plus and the decrement operator is minus minus, and they are added in postfix notation. So you can write a plus plus. That's a valid operation. You must note that decrement or the increment operator are both unary operators and they only work with one operand. So as we mentioned in the lecture, a plus plus should increase the value of a by 1. So if I do fmt println, we should expect the value of 13 being printed to the console. Go run main.go. Correct. Now if I do a minus minus and then print a, we should expect the value of 12 being printed to the console. So first we will have 13 printed and then we subtract 1 from it with a minus minus and then print it. So if I do go run main.go, you will see 13 and 12 printed. So that's the increment and the decrement operator. This is also used in a for loop. Occasionally, we will discuss for loops in the upcoming lessons. For now, you can just remember that these are used to increment and decrement any numeric value by 1. So in this lesson, first we cover the plus operator, which can also be used with strings, and then the minus operator or the difference operator, followed by the product, division, and remainder. Then we cover type conversion when you are trying to perform a arithmetic operation between two different numeric types. We later followed it with computation shorthand. Just going to comment and add the computation shorthand example. And then we covered the computation shorthand, followed by division by 0, and in the end we covered increment and decrement operations. So as you can see, arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical operations. We will use them throughout the course when we start working on examples. We will see how they work in real life and how we can use them to compute different or solve different problems. That's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we will talk about bitwise operators. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment under the video or reach out to our Discord server. Happy coding!